boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
I want to talk today about what happened in boxing last 2 weeks. The last week we announced the first league of boxing with TKO and Dana White to give the opportunity to the fighters to make something the fans like. We have a lot of ideas. This league is not against anyone, not against the commission, not against the promoters. This is my opinion and this is from my side. It is a project, will have space in the market. We will still see the four belt and the commission and the promoters. The market is huge and no one can delete anyone from this market. The Ring magazine and the belt of the Ring magazine is in the middle. The legacy of 103 years, it will not be involved in any of these things. This is something separate. The Ring magazine will start to have amazing and different cards. It will begin in London, in Tottenham Stadium, Yuba and Camden. Now let's get back to the boxing. I see what happened in the market in the last week, and I understand the panic in the market because there is a lot of companies and there are a lot of promoters. What I want to say, we care about the fans and the fighters, and we will support the fans and the fighters, and we will continue doing the big fights. There is a full schedule. The relationship between Riyadh season and the relationship between the Ring magazine and the promoters will continue at least for the next 1 or 2 years. This depends about their reaction and about what is the options they will give us. If it is good for us, we will do it. In this situation, I like what Matchroom and Eddie Hearn doing. Eddie still until now discussing with my team and with me to doing a big fights around the world. And Eddie to continue to work with us if we are continuing doing business with him. And this is the professional way. And also we have a lot of discussion with Goldenboy to have some fighters from them in different cards. The result of Times Square, it will affect the future of the Riyadh season cards. We want to see in October the rematch between Garcia and Haney. We want Timalifu maybe against Boots or someone else in the same level. After the 3rd of May, we will announce the details about the Canelo and Crawford fight, the big fight in the history of boxing. We will not announce it before the 3rd, all the details, and there is surprise about who will be the promoter of this big fight. And the platform, you will see the big fights in it. We finish everything, but I respect the request from Canelo. He wants to focus in his big fight and dangerous fight in the 3rd of May, and after that, we will start to talk about the future. We are studying, and we will have anyone from Japan in December in our country. There is a lot of options. I prefer him to fight Nakatana from Japan if it is possible. We will push to have something like this in the future. Now, maybe today or tomorrow maximum, we will announce the undercard of Canelo in the 3rd of May. There is a lot of surprise. We will announce it also for Tottenham and for Times Square. And my team is always happy to work with the promoters in boxing if they give us good options. We are now waiting and working in the same time with WBC for the competition, the Grand Prix. It will be something huge. It will be giving the opportunity for new fighters and give them the chance. My focus from the beginning to support the fighters and to make the fans happy. We will try to deliver big card with good price in pay-per-view. Thank you so much. This is what I want to say. Wait and watch. Thank you.
Super League, when it's not actually going to be a league, could be an attempt at circumvention from conflict of interest. When you go down the promotion rabbit hole and you own the Ring magazine and you own the league and you promote the fighters, then you have management, all in the mix. How you title what you're doing is very important. Al Heyman, as far as he's concerned, is an advisor. TGB Promotions, are they a legit promotional outlet? Well, we'll see. If they continue to promote beyond PBC cards, we'll see. Turki said he'll continue to work with the promoters for the next year or two at least, because that's when I guess a lot of the contracts wind up, and Dana said as much. He's got a lot of contracts that have to be wound up with the promoters, and then we'll see what's next, because they're going to need a little time to work this project out, this Super League project out. The rights deal has to be correct. It looks like ESPN could be a front runner. Eddie Hearn was saying it's no coincidence that they announced this Super League around the time when ESPN have said they are not going to renew the Top Rank contract. And I believe Dana has a situation on ESPN with the UFC, so they could be a front runner. Netflix is where Crawford and Canelo could end up, and obviously the Zone will have to see where they fit in all these plans. I don't know if Frank Warren has anything to worry about. I wouldn't have thought so, but he mentioned Eddie Hearn and working with Matchroom.
In this situation, I like what Matchroom and Eddie Hearn doing. Eddie, still until now, discussing with my team and with me to doing a big fight around the world.
A lot of people have been saying that Frank Warren destroyed Eddie Hearn's promotional outlet. Frank has 3 world champions, as far as I know. We're talking men's boxing: Kakache, Nick Ball, and Daniel Dubois. In fact, we can scratch off Kakache because he vacated the belt rather than taking on Matchroom's Eduardo Nunes. So Frank has 2 champions. Matchroom: Jaya Pataya, Dimitri Bivol, Boots Ennis, Richardson Hitchens, Shakur Stevenson, Bam Rodriguez. So Eddie has 3 times the amount of world champions that Frank does. Apart from Daniel Dubois, Frank don't have the bankable assets in terms of fighters that Eddie has. He doesn't. Not on a global scale anyway. Frank, last year, after beating Eddie in that 5 versus 5, he was talking about doing cards in America. But with Dana White and Turki making that announcement, I don't know, I think Frank's left it a little too late. Eddie's been laying down roots in the American market since 2017, before Matchroom went with the Zone. He's promoted Canelo over there. 3 of his champions off the top of my head are American, Mexican-American, African-American. Before Matchroom went over to the Zone, they were working with the likes of Danny Jacobs. And I tell you what, man, the American market is going to be difficult for Frank. Frank done a wonderful show in America years back when Nassim Hamed defended his featherweight titles against Kevin Kelly. That was a great event. But right now, Frank's in his 70s. Frank's not going to be stamping his passport, MSG, Barclay Center, 1 minute, then he's in Florida, Vegas, or wherever it takes him like Eddie does. I don't see it. I don't see it right now. Turki spoke about working with Goldenboy and putting their fighters on cards. He did say they're going to keep the prices, the pay-per-view prices, competitive. And if Dana takes off and he brings down the price of boxing in America, especially in that time zone, all that hatred for Dana won't totally disappear. It will basically spell the end for the PBC unless they sign with Dana. They're not going to pay £80 for some of them pay-per-views that the PBC are producing when they can get better fights, better cards, more consistently for a lot less, unless it's like die-hard Al Heyman fans. There's only one way the American boxing fans are going to vote, whether they like Dana or not. The thing is, when push came to shove, Frank and Eddie put their differences aside and they worked together. Turki couldn't do that with Bob Arum and Al Heyman. He couldn't do that. He has to get Dana in there to be the front runner in America. They're not going to try and dominate the globe because the globe are more cooperative. He's already working with Inoue. He's already working with Eddie Hearn. He doesn't have to go and take their markets over. Eddie and Frank are bringing fights over there. The biggest issue so far he's had has been with the American market. And this is the only way to go for it. Tried all the meetings with the PBC. Tank wanted the Ferraris. And it's similar to when Eddie Hearn was trying to make his way through America, offering the PBC fighters fights because they don't, by definition, have a promoter. And he was getting all the pushback and they were saying the Zone was the dead zone. It's similar to that. Eventually, DAZN became the front runner in broadcasting boxing, and Turkey is going to get a foothold in the American market, one way or the other. And Dana's the guy who chose to do it. It's as simple as that. So when people are saying, oh, all you promoters better be careful, no. Anyone who has an interest in being a major player in America needs to be on their P's and Q's with this Super League. That's who needs to be on their toes. Lou DiBella talking about middlemen and just a load of... Eddie said, I don't care if I'm the middleman, the back man, or the front man. I'm doing the best for my company, my fighters, and I'm making money.
I make big money. I drive big cars.
Up until January and April last year, Oscar was trying to give Turkey the smoke, weren't he? He was trying to give Turkey the smoke. He doesn't know ish about boxing, and now Goldenboy had to sit Oscar down. I said, yo, Oscar, stop it, bro. Stop it. And see, the thing is, the time zone is very important in this discussion. Oscar could potentially have had that position that Dana is about to occupy, because Oscar is in the American ecosystem, right on that time zone, where Eddie and Frank Warren are not. But because he ran his mouth like that, Turkey's still working with him, but Turkey thinks Oscar's an idiot, a cokehead, an alcoholic, a sexual deviant, not a serious businessman. Now Oscar's talking about he's offended that Dana's got the position. Not a Bob Arum fan, but if this was just maybe 20 years ago, Bob Arum would have got the gig. Dana White wouldn't have got that gig over Bob Arum. No way. Dana White was talking about Tuesday night fights. Now, a lot of people in the UK, they don't know Tuesday night fights like that. I do. My friend John, an amateur boxer, John had a couple of my tapes, and I phoned John a couple of times for the tapes. One day he said, stay in. I said, all right, stay in. And then John came round in his van with his mate. And he just had a baby and he was moving out of the area. He said, I ain't really got time for the boxing thing no more. And he gave me a box full of videotapes. Tuesday night fights, all old fights and everything. So I saw a lot of what you guys were seeing across the pond. I saw a lot of it. You know what I mean? Tuesday night fights. And that was a golden era for American boxing, where you were seeing great fights, and they didn't necessarily have to have a belt attached to the fights, but you were seeing great matchups, golden era, American boxing, Tuesday night fights. No pay-per-view, you might have had to pay your cable provider or whatnot. And that's it. Sean O'Grady, Al Albert. I have a feeling that Dana might bring Mike Tyson in as a co-host, co-commentator, pundit, etc. I got a feeling he's going to bring Tyson in. He's good friends with Tyson. And see, the thing is, like, Dana got that I don't beg friend mentality as well. He needs someone like that. I see Dana in this UFC media scrum thing the other day, and like, people were just desperate to talk to Dana. When you think of UFC, you don't think of Conor McGregor. You think of Dana White. People gravitate towards Dana. Dana is an American success story. Dana is a guy who has inspired a lot of young men to get up off their asses and be entrepreneurs. That's who you're looking at right there. And he's going to bring a different market to his boxing venture. How many of them is he going to bring will ultimately dictate whether it's a success or failure. I think it's more about how he rebrands boxing with whatever format they're thinking of using. Is how he rebrands it. Apparently, Tom Loeffler, famous for K2 Promotions and his work with Gennady Golovkin, he's going to be on board with Dana. And Loeffler's rolling with Callum Walsh. And it looks like he's going to be one of Dana's prospects. So what I think Dana plans to do is get 50-50 fights, similar to what Pro Box is doing, but on a higher level. Get people to turn up to the fights, have a really good time, no messing around, one belt per weight class, less weight classes. The champions will be recognizable because it won't be cluttered with the oversaturation of champions, and develop it from there. You know what I mean? What I believe it will be is regular cards, 50-50 matches, and with Turkey's money, we'll see what kind of success they can make with it. And they will be attracting elite level competition, make no mistake about that. But I think Dana will try to eliminate the diva temperaments. And I think the fighters will be fighting for the fans as long as they're well paid. Freeweight champion Iran Barkley, 64 years of age, hospitalized with a stroke. Mauricio Sulaiman said he was speaking to Iran, so it looks like he's conscious. Definitely a fan favorite. Incredible warrior. The fights Iran Barkley had, just can't take it away from him. You can't. 2 fights with Hearns. The fights with Robbie Sims, Hagler's brother. Nearly beating Michael Nunn. The Duran fight where he lost the title. When he destroyed Darren Van Horn at 168. Michael Alalshikh. The Nigel Benn fight. If Iran was around today, there's not a middleweight who could live with him. There isn't.
Boxing beats and rhymes. No one can do it better.